Hi, my name is David Fields. I'm in my second year at Roll State uh, College. I'm doing computer programming. I've decided to leave a job that I've worked for 24 years to go back to school and continue my education. I have found out that working 80 hours a week and 70 hours a week is not good. I've watched my children grow up through somebody else's eyes and things like that. So I decided that I wanted to be more involved with my children, more involved with everything that I do. And working less hours is one of the things that would do it. So I quit my job. I have got a job at Lowe's as delivery coordinator, and now that I have that, I only work 35 hours a week, and it allows me to do 9 to 12 hours a week of credits for school. Uh, this is something I've always wanted to do that I just never had the courage to do. Uh, some of the things I like to do outside of work now that I have more time, I love to ride my bicycle. You know, my sons love to ride bicycles. So it's easy just to load them up and take off and go somewhere and ride bicycles. We also love to hike. The mountains are close. We go to the mountains and have a book and we hike some of the courses. You know, my sons, they love to work out. So we have basically basically a small gym in our garage and we work out in our garage. I just love to spend time with my family. And working my previous job didn't allow it. So this is why I decided to go back to school and further my education to learn to be able to either work from home or work for a job that's not so demanding so I can be with my children and watch them grow up. I mean, my boys now are 19 and 17 and I have missed so much that this is so important to me that I just had to make that decision. So it's time to tell a story. So a story I want to tell is about when my son Kobe was born. Okay. So he was born on September the 4th, which is great. But on September the 1st, I had uh, shoulder uh, shoulder uh, rotator cuff repair because Kobe wasn't due for 2 weeks. So I went ahead and done that because I said in 2 weeks I'd be able to drive, I'd be able to do this, I'll be able to do that. So I'm sitting there. It's September the 4th. My wife and I are sitting in our living room and we decide, hey, are we going to go to church today? I just had surgery on Thursday, and this is Sunday, so it's only been 4 days that I've had the surgery. So we're sitting there, and my wife goes, "Hey, I'm going to go to the restroom." So she went to the restroom. She come back, and she goes, "I think I lost my mucus plug." And I said, "Huh?" She goes, "Yeah." I said, "Well, Kobe ain't due for 2 weeks. It's no big deal, you know." My youngest son, Kobe, he's not due for 2 weeks. That's the whole purpose of it. So, you know, being what we are, she calls the doctor. Now, remember, I didn't tell you the time, but remember, this is like 8 o'clock in the morning on Sunday, September the 4th. So she calls the hospital and said, "Hey, come on in. We'll just do a quick check. It'll be okay." So we laughed about it and everything. So I had my son Davy. He was a little over 1 at the time. And I said, "Well, okay." So I called my parents. "Hey, can you keep Davy?" They said, "Sure, I'll keep him." So, at that point, I took him. He loved biscuits and gravy. So we go to Hardee's. I get him a biscuit and gravy breakfast and feed him and do this and do that. And we're both laughing about it, saying, this is no big deal. Nothing's ever going to happen. This is just blah, 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 blah. So I feed Davy. He's happy. He's done. So we take him over to my parents' house and we drop him off. So then we go to the hospital. When St. Mary's was still there, it was at St. Mary's. We go to St. Mary's and we check in. They take us up and said, "Okay, we'll come and check you." Well, my wife's OBGYN was already there because he had a patient there that she had twins and was going to have a cesarean. He come in, he was checking her, and he looked and says, "What are you all doing here?" I mean, that was his expression. "What were you all doing here?" And my wife said, "Well, I went to the bathroom. I think I lost my music mucus plug." So he goes, "Okay." So he checks the other lady and checks and see how the baby's doing. He says, "Come here, let me check." He goes, "Oh yeah." He goes, "By the way, you're dilated to 9 centimeters." I'm like, "What?" And my wife goes, "What?" And he looked at me, he goes, "What happened to you?" I just had rotator cuff surgery because he's not due for 2 weeks. So he goes, So he checks her again. He goes, "Well, I'm going to break a water. You're all having a baby today." I'm like, "A baby today? He's not due for 2 weeks." So the doctor goes, "Yeah." So, okay. So he breaks my wife's water and we go to a room and we're still giggling about it, blah, 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 ha, 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 ha. So they come in. My wife goes, "I'd like to have an epidural to decrease the pain and stuff at childbirth." They come in and give her the epidural. What's really funny about it is we were still laughing at that point. You know, this is like 12 o'clock on a Sunday morning. We just dropped Davy off. We fed him breakfast, took care of him. We've laughed about it. We've done everything in the world. And then here we are. So they come in, they give my wife an epidural. Next thing you know, at 2:40 p.m. the same day, 2 hours and 40 minutes after we arrived at the hospital, guess what? Here's Kobe. He's like, "Hi, Dad." Surprise. So my last son, Kobe, he was born 2 weeks early. We had tried to plan everything around it, but he showed up 2 weeks early. He said, "Ha ha, I'm going to show you," which is good because I love my son. He's Kobe is my mini me. He's just like me. So the moral of the story is that make sure you plan accordingly because I didn't plan accordingly because he decided to show up early. But I love my son. We worked through it. You know, we worked through it. It took a couple of days and everything. But the biggest thing is I was out rotator cuff repair, and I could spend so much time. I was out for 12 weeks, 12 weeks out of work. I got to spend so much time with my family and my boys and everything else, and it was amazing. And I cannot ever think back about how much it was. So if you have any time to spend with your children or your family when you can be out of work and stuff, please do it because it's an amazing time and enjoy every second of it. So that's my story of how my son Kobe was born, and I hope you enjoy it. Thank you.